Hey everyone, it's Karen. So as you probably know, I have type 2 diabetes. I'm 36 years old, so a bit on the younger side for someone that is typically diagnosed with that. But I recently went on a backpacking trip, which was like the best thing I have ever done for myself. And I just wanted to share 10 tips I have if you are thinking of doing something similar, either a backpacking trip or a long hike or some other sort of strenuous exercise that is a bit above and beyond what you would normally do. So my first tip is basically just to tell your doctor what you're up to. I have a doctor and a pharmacist that I meet with on a pretty regular basis, and also touch base with over email and stuff like that. And I told them both that I was going, so they knew about it, and we had kind of talked about it ahead of time, and they just kind of gave me some tips on what I wanted to make sure that I did so that I stayed safe. So I think it's really important that your whole health team knows what you're about to do. My second tip is that you should train. And this was the best part for me because, as you know, if you have type 2 diabetes, you should be eating healthy and you should be exercising. Okay? Common sense. But when I had a backpacking trip that I was working towards, and I knew that I was going to have to backpack 22 miles over the course of 3 days, with the most being around 9 point something miles, I think, I had to get my body in shape for that. And I just felt like not just exercising, but exercising with a purpose just made me so motivated, and it made me feel so good each time I would do something harder than the previous workout. And I really noticed changes in my blood sugar when I was not just exercising, but exercising with a purpose. In fact, 1 week my blood sugar was in range 94% of the time. I mean, it was just amazing. And yeah, I think that to me, it's a lot more rewarding than just going to the gym. The third thing is to communicate with the person that you're going with. So I was going with a friend from the internet, and so I just filled her in I have type 2 diabetes, and she asked me what does she need to know? Is there anything that she needs to know? And I just told her about how I was managing it and what I would be doing along the trail and stuff like that. And really, she didn't really have to do anything, but at least she knew, that was something that I had that was going on. So whether it's type 2 diabetes or something else, just make sure the other person knows about your medical stuff when you are doing something insane, like going into the backcountry with them. The fourth tip is to have an emergency plan and also an emergency way to communicate if there was a health problem. So I gave my itinerary to a lot of people, and they knew exactly where I was supposed to be, when I was supposed to be there. They had confirmation numbers and information on exactly where I was staying, what I was doing, everything like that. They had emergency numbers for the person that I was going with and also her dad, so that they could reach out to them if they needed anything. And then finally, we also had a Garmin InReach thing that we shared between the two of us. And basically, there's a SOS button on there. So if either of us needed medical attention for whatever reason, you could push that, and first responders would get your location, your GPS location, and they would be able to find you and take care of you. So that was super important. The other thing it had was basically a few preset messages. So we would send a message to our parents basically whenever we left camp for the day and we're hiking, and then whenever we made it to camp and we're just gonna stay there for the night, so that everyone knew exactly where we were and they had a geo coordinates sort of thing. Okay, the fifth thing I did was I advocated for myself, and I talked to my doctor about what would make me feel more comfortable. So as a type 2 diabetic, I really don't need to check my blood sugar all that often. Mainly, I used to just check it in the mornings when I would wake up to see if I was kind of improving over time or whatever with my fasting glucose, but I advocated for myself and I asked if I could have a Dexcom G6, which is a continuous glucose monitor. So basically I could look at my phone or my Apple Watch, which was always on me, and I would know what my blood sugar was at any given time. Now, this has actually improved my life outside of backpacking, because when I do notice I go high, then I can do things about it. I can go for a walk. I can clean something around the house. Like, it's amazing how quickly it is, how quick you can go down if you are well prepared and you know that you're high, basically. But yeah, it just gave me a sense of security, and I would highly recommend bringing a backup. I didn't, because I just feel like I'm not in a place with my diabetes where it would be devastating to not know my blood sugar at any given time, but I definitely enjoyed my Dexcom, and I'm glad that I used it for backpacking. The sixth thing is to bring your medication, and also kind of just use your doctor's information and your knowledge about yourself and your body to adjust your medication if you need to. So I'm on 1,000 milligrams or something of metformin, and I ended up just taking half of it when I was backpacking, because I was never low because I have type 2 diabetes, but I was like definitely within a healthy range, like 90, 100 a lot of the time. And so I just ended up taking half of it. But that's something that like is a decision you should make with your doctor and all that stuff. And then I also stayed on Ozempic when I was on this trip. However, I did plan it so that basically during the bulk of this hike, my Ozempic was kind of on its way out. So I made sure that the last few days of when Ozempic would be in my system were the days of the hike. So something to consider, maybe adjusting when you take stuff, but definitely talk to your doctor. I'm not an expert. I don't know anything. I'm just telling you my life. Number 7, test out your food ahead of time. This is something I did a little bit. I probably should have done more, but basically like look at the carb counts of what you're eating and try and see how they impact your body ahead of time. I think that would be super helpful. Probably should have done it more, but it worked out fine for me. But I'm just saying, like, if I had to add a tip, that would be a good tip to add. Number 8, bring lots of snacks. I never went low, but I did have Starburst and things with me just in case, because I didn't want to create some sort of an emergency situation. So make sure you have snacks. Make sure you have a lot of things for if you go low. Which again, as someone with type 2 diabetes, I've never gone low, but you are doing loads of physical activity, and you also might be on the same level of medication. So I suppose it's possible, and you just don't want to be in a situation where you're low and you have no way of like correcting. So bring loads of supplies, and I would say that following type 1 diabetics online is a really good way to get tips on what kind of stuff they take with them when they're exercising or when they go low just in their daily life. Step 9, listen to your body. You know yourself. When you need to rest. When you need to move. I definitely like kept going when my knee was bothering me, and now my knee is a hot mess, but it will get better, and it is already getting better. But you do take longer to heal when you have type 2 diabetes, so just make sure that you're taking care of your feet and your body, and just making sure everything's clean, making sure that you're just like aware of everything. And yeah, I think that's super important as well. Tip number 10 is to celebrate and share. Guys, I am fluffy. I have type 2 diabetes, but I freaking backpacked 22 miles. I will link my videos below if you're curious about seeing kind of my adventure. I'm just so proud of myself, and I think that if you have type 2 diabetes, like, we should be celebrating, because there is just this opinion that we're old and we're fat and we're lazy and like all these things. And like, yeah, I am fluffy, I'm not gonna lie, but I can do hard things, and I think that we just need to take the stigma away from having type 2 diabetes and just like celebrate all the amazing things that we can do and all the amazing ways that we're taking care of your body. So shout it out loud, share what you did. And yeah, if you guys are also going to be going on a backpacking trip, running a marathon, running anywhere, like, I'm just curious, what challenges are you going to be doing? And like, what are some other tips that you might have for other people on how you prepare for those bigger physical challenges and stuff like that? So give me all your feedback and all your comments and all your stories in the comments. I would love to check you out if you also kind of vlog about this sort of thing. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing summer and best of luck on whatever adventures you are planning.